Welcome back to the Foundry by Forge College. Okay, so last time we had an absolute blast looking at the landscape of security tools over on Solana, right? But today we are pivoting back to Ethereum to tackle something that literally gives even the most seasoned developers absolute nightmares. We're talking about ensuring data consistency in tricky nested contract calls. You know, as your smart contracts start talking to each other, building what we call advanced composability, you suddenly kind of lose control over the full execution path. And let me tell you, that is exactly where the bugs love to hide. So let's jump right in.
Here's the blueprint for today's heist. We're going to cover 1. The anatomy of a nested call, 2. The TOCTOU trap, 3. Catching the bug, 4. Checks and effects, 5. Validation checkpoints, and finally, 6. Secure contract composability.
All right, Section 1, Anatomy of a Nested Call, the heist blueprint. So, let's meet our cast of characters. We've got the coordinator, right? Think of them as our naive bank teller. Then there's the storage, which is our passive vault, just holding the data. And finally, the callback agent, basically an unpredictable, chaotic little gremlin. Under normal circumstances, the coordinator checks the storage for a value, does a bit of math, and updates it. Super simple. But what happens if the coordinator gets, distracted mid-transaction by an external call to that callback agent? Well, spoiler alert, total chaos ensues.
Which brings us to Section 2, the TOCTOU trap, or time of check, time of use.
TOCTOU. It stands for time of check, time of use. To make this super relatable, imagine you're at your favorite cafe. You order this beautiful, perfectly brewed latte. The barista sets it down on the counter. Bam, that's your time of check. But then, you turn your back for just a split second to grab a napkin, and in that exact moment, some mischievous gremlin swaps your delicious latte for a cup of lukewarm dishwater. You turn back, totally oblivious, and take a huge sip. That is your time of use. Disgusting, right? But honestly, that is exactly what happens to your smart contract data if you're not careful.
So here's what this vulnerable read, modify, write flow actually looks like in your logic. Step 1, the coordinator reads a value. Step 2, it computes an update. Step 3, and seriously, here's the fatal error, it casually chats with an external agent. Then finally, Step 4, it writes the new state, just blindly trusting that nothing changed on the vault while it was distracted looking the other way. But as we all know, in Web3, you can literally never blindly trust.
Let's move right along to Section 3, Catching the Bug, Test the Vulnerability. Okay, so we set up our test environment, right? We initialize our storage vault with a value of 1. Our coordinator is supposed to read that 1, add another 1 to it, and write back a 2. Simple math. We run the test, fully expecting to see that expected value of 2. But wait, no way, the test actually fails. The callback agent intercepted the transaction during that external call, hijacked the whole process, and blasted our actual storage value up to 999. I mean, yikes.
If we instrument our code to spit out event logs, the trace in this table makes the heist undeniably clear. At time 1, the coordinator reads the state as 1. At time 2, while the coordinator is off making that external call, the callback agent sneaks right back into the storage vault and maliciously mutates the state to 999. So, by the time the coordinator finally gets around to writing its computed value at time 3, the state is just completely inconsistent. The timeline has been totally broken.
So, the heist is caught on tape, and the logs definitely don't lie. But, knowing exactly how the vault was robbed doesn't actually fix the lock on the door. The real question is, how in the world do we slam the vault door shut on this sneaky callback agent and protect our nested calls?
That takes us to Section 4, Checks and Effects, the gold standard.
The philosophy here is actually beautifully simple. Instead of leaving the vault door wide open while we wander off to talk to strangers, we just change our sequence. First, we run our checks to validate all our conditions. Second, we apply our effects, meaning we update our local state and we lock that vault. And only then, at the very absolute end in Step 3, do we perform our interactions and actually make those external calls to untrusted smart contracts.
When you compare the two approaches side by side, the solution is super obvious. The vulnerable logic puts the external call right smack in the middle, leaving this gaping hole for the callback agent to exploit. But by shifting the structure and moving that external call to the absolute end of the function, we totally neutralize the threat. Even if the callback agent tries to cause some chaos, it doesn't matter, because our precious data has already been safely written and locked away.
All right, Section 5, Validation Checkpoints, Verifying the World.
Now, in a perfect world, the checks effects interactions pattern solves everything. But what if your contract logic absolutely requires you to write data after making an external call?
Well, in that case, you've got to use a validation checkpoint. You basically just reread the authoritative state right after the external call and use a require statement, just like the one you see here, to ensure it perfectly matches the before state. If it doesn't match, boom, you revert the entire transaction and kick that gremlin right out.
Think back to our whole coffee analogy for a second. Blind trust is basically the equivalent of chugging that decoy dishwater without even looking. You're just writing the computed value unconditionally. Conversely, the checkpoint approach asserts the invariant, which is just a fancy way of saying you verify the facts first, and only then do you write the data. A validation checkpoint makes absolutely sure you are holding the exact same cup of coffee before you take that sip.
And finally, Section 6, Secure Composability, Building the Blueprint.
Building composite systems really requires a big shift in your mindset. So here are your 3 golden rules to take away from today's explainer. Number 1, assume all external calls are actively hostile and mutating. Seriously, trust no one. Number 2, use explicit validation checkpoints whenever your control flow leaves your contract. And number 3, keep your mutable state safely and tightly encapsulated behind strict interfaces.
I really love this quote because it just hits the nail right on the head. These principles are mental models you will reuse when composing larger systems. As you engage with more advanced learning programs and courses with Forge College, you're going to see that these defensive mental models, they aren't just clever tricks for passing a single test. They literally become the absolute bedrock of your large-scale composite architectures.
Armed with these techniques, your checks, effects, interactions, and your validation checkpoints, you have officially leveled up your security mindset. And that means you are now perfectly prepared for our next module in the Solidity and Ethereum Quest track, where we'll be tackling interoperability strategies for composite contracts. We're going to take these secure vaults and learn exactly how to safely link them together at scale. So, before we wrap things up today, I really want you to take a hard look at your own code bases. Go dig through your recent projects. Are your nested contracts accidentally trusting external agents? Are you maybe accidentally leaving the vault door wide open for a TOCTOU gremlin to just walk right in?
Please don't let your data get hijacked. To dive much deeper into this subject, grab the actual code from today's debugging lab and truly master the art of advanced composability. I highly encourage you to visit forge.college. Secure those Web3 projects, keep on learning, and I will see you in the next explainer.